Um, Hope you're doing well. Hope you guys had an incredible weekend. Mine was hectic but great. I had a chance to speak to a lot of folks coming into Affluence Blueprint and that type of thing. So I wanted to jump in here. It was on my mind this morning. This whole idea of um, financial vision. Uh, as I was doing my run, I run every morning, unless it's like raining and too cold. So I run every morning. I was running this morning on the beach, and I was just thinking about the idea of a financial vision. How do we get to where we want to be financially? And one of the biggest things that I see is that those that actually achieve their financial goals, and it's not just about the financial goals. We'll talk about it. They have actually a financial vision. So that's really what I want to chat about today. Is just talk about what is a financial vision, what does it take, and how you use it in a way to achieve your financial success, to achieve financial independence, to achieve financial liberation, to achieve an affluent life. How do you do that, and where you do that? So if you're jumping in. Let me know where you're coming in from. Say hello. If you happen to be in one of my groups, you probably need to authorize. You have to authorize my streaming to show your name. Otherwise, it won't show your name or tell me your name. I just put this in here. That'll allow you to authorize it. So hopefully that's cool. All right. So let me know that you're in here. I want to talk about this whole idea of financial vision. Here's how I see this. There's a lot of people that I have a conversation with as I speak, as I was traveling and speaking, and the conversations that I'm doing now on Zoom and everything. And they have this lofty vision. They have this lofty dream, and they say, I say, well, what, where do you want to be financially? They say, I want to be wealthy. I want to be rich. But that's a horrible goal, because what does that mean? I mean, what truly does that mean? Because what ends up happening is we just start chasing for chasing's sake. I remember I got in a bike accident back in 2009. Flipped my mountain bike, came down on my head, grade 4 concussion. I was stuttering. I couldn't speak. I had no feeling in the right side. And I remember a good, dear friend of mine. We call each other brothers. We're not brothers by blood, but we grew up together. He retired at age 37, and he came by the house and he took me out to lunch. And there I was in a neck brace and everything. And he took me out to lunch. He's sitting across from me, and he knew that the reason that I got in the bike accident, one of the reasons I got in the bike accident, was I wasn't paying attention to details. I wasn't paying attention to details because I was stressed out. I was pissed off because of something that happened. I got on the bike. I didn't take care of my shoelaces, and my shoelace got caught in the chain and caused me to hit the brake, which flipped the bike, and I was on concrete, so it came down on my head. And so he looked at me across the table, and we went to this place called The Hat, which is the best pastrami sandwiches ever, when I used to eat pastrami. And he looked at me and he said, "How much is enough? How much is enough?" And I go, "Why are you asking that?" He said, "Because you were distracted, because you were stressed, because you were pissed off, because you're running just for the sake of running, and you don't have a goal, you don't have a vision, you don't have that in mind, you don't know exactly where you're going." He says, how are you going to know when you get there?" And I go, damn it, he's right. He's right. Because I'm never going to know when I get there, because I'm running for the sake of running, and my goal was more. My goal was wealthy. My goal was rich. My goal was more. What kind of goal is that? And so for you, my thinking is, one of the things to look at is this whole idea is, first off, we start out and we get really clear on what are your financial desires. What are your financial desires? Because that's the vision that you have. So we create a vision. In fact, in the Affluence Blueprint, what I do is part of the process. The first part of the process is creating an affluent vision, an affluence vision that's a vivid vision that is specific, that we know exactly what we're going for. It's not just more. It's not just a lot. It's much greater than that, and we take it into detail. In fact, I'm going to write some of these down for you. So the first thing is we start out with this whole idea of what are my financial desires. This is your vision, part of your vision. But we'll talk about some of the components of that in a moment, because that becomes really, really important in doing it. The vision isn't enough, because a vision without an action is simply a dream. And we can sit there and daydream all day long. We can have night dreams all night long. It doesn't make it so. I hate to tell you, the fact that you're putting it out into the universe doesn't make it so without you taking the right actions. But you can't take the right actions if you don't know specifically where you're going. So what we end up doing is that dream, that vision, has to then turn into financial goals. Financial goals. I mean, specific goals. Specifically, what are those specific goals? In other words, is it $1 million by age 40? Is it 10 million? Is it 100 million? What are the specific goals that you are trying to accomplish with respect to your financial well-being? Now, we should have goals in all aspects of our life: our relationships, our health, our wealth, spiritual, all those things. We should have goals on in doing that. But most people don't have actually specific financial goals. They just have a lot more. Okay, so getting specific financial goals becomes really important, an important next step. Now, here's the thing that starts to make these goals come to life, and this is the thing that most people will not do. They'll take it from here and say, hold on, and look at it from where they're coming in from, and it's like, what I want you to do is this: write all, I'm going to underline it, goals down. Write all your goals down. In other words, make sure that you've got them completely written down. If you don't have your goals written down in a way that you can get to them, that you can read them, they're not going to come to life. They're not going to come to life. In fact, you're going to see that later on. One of the things I tell you to do is to calendar it. I think that you need to calendar your goals. I think that you need to know exactly what's happening. So now you got the desires and you figured out the desires. Number two, you turn those desires into goals, financial goals. I want X million dollars in my retirement. I want this kind of home. I want no debt. What are those specific financial goals? And we do a lot of this type of stuff in the Affluence Blueprint. We'll talk about that in a second. Today, the card's open for Affluence Blueprint. It closes at the end of the day today. Okay. But I want you to write all your goals down, but then I want you to be, I was going to say beware of the inner voice. I'm going to say it differently. I want you to guide the inner voice. Because as soon as you put those goals down, here's what's going to happen. That inner voice, the critics, the past failures, your neighbors, your parents, your family, the bullies from school, all those. As soon as you write those goals down, that inner voice of doubt is going to creep up. They're going to start talking to you. They're going to say, who the heck do you think you are? Why do you think that you can be so wealthy? Why do you think that you can accomplish this? Why do you have these financial? You can't do this. You're not smart enough. You don't understand enough. You've never done it before. All those things are going to come to life. They're going to surface. So what we need to start to look at is how do we guide the inner voice? Not suppress it, but guide it in a sense that I need to be able to guide that inner voice in a way that serves me. Because as soon as we set lofty goals, as soon as we get specific, as soon as you turn around and put it out there, then that voice creeps up and you start to deal with it. Now, especially when we talk about money. All right. So let's talk about some of the inner voice things that will come about with money that people have said. And these are myths, they're untruths, they're falsehoods, there's wherever. For instance, I think one of the things that a lot of people say, well, listen, I'm never going to be rich. I'm never going to be wealthy. I'm never going to live that affluent life you're talking about, Mel. I'm never going to have that financial liberation that you think. He says, because I'm not going to have the ability to inherit my wealth, because most wealthy people have inherited wealth. Here's the deal. You want the statistic? 80%, 80% of millionaires are first generation millionaires. In other words, they made it themselves. It wasn't inherited. It wasn't given to them. It wasn't handed to them. It wasn't won in a lottery. It wasn't any of that. They went out and made it. And if you look at the book by Chris Hogan, Everyday Millionaire, you'll see that they made it through discipline and persistence. They didn't make it because all of a sudden they were living a huge wage and they're in the C-suite. A lot of them were just wage earners. Okay, so they did a study. Chris Hogan did a study of 10,000 millionaires, and this statistic came out: 80% were first generation. So this idea that, well, all the rich, they inherit their money, isn't true. It isn't true. In fact, it's the opposite. That, the interesting thing is, if you don't teach the skills to the children, those that inherit it, they lose it. Quite the opposite. There are some that when they inherit it, they build it further and they make it better and bigger. But by and large, if we don't pass the skill set on, it doesn't work. So that's a falsehood. It's an untruth. It's a myth that those are rich inherited. Most of them, 80%, are first generation millionaires. Second, this is one that I hear a lot. I don't make enough money to worry about this now. I don't make enough money to invest. I don't make enough money that I'm going to have the ability to be wealthy, or have the ability to be financially liberated or financially free or financially independent. I don't make enough money to even think about this. Well, it's because you believe you don't make enough money that's why you're where you're at. It's because you feel you don't make enough money that you actually aren't taking the actions to make. Because the truth is this: $200 a month can make you over $300,000, $400,000 over 30 years, because of the beauty of compounding. You don't need a lot if you have a lot of time. Time is your greatest lever in wealth building. We don't need a lot. The problem is that too often we think that, well, I'll get there when I start making my $200,000 a year, or my $100,000 a year. No, you'll never get there, because here's the deal. Here's the other falsehood, is that your money, what you do with your money, is not a logical thing. It is a habitual thing. It's a behavioral thing. What we do with our money is a behavioral thing. Those that are wealthy have behaviors of the wealthy. And so what we need to do is start building the muscle. You don't go out and start running a marathon when you first decide, I'm going to start to run. You build up to it. And what you're doing is you're training the behaviors, the muscles, so they can operate. So we need to start training your money muscles to do things a certain way so you can handle things as they grow. See, we have a money comfort zone, a financial comfort zone, and we need to expand that. And one of the things to realize is that it has nothing to do with how much you make. It has to do with how much you keep and what you do with it. I don't care whether you make $20,000 a year, $40,000 a year, $140,000 or $1 million a year. There are people that are making millions of dollars a year and they have nothing to show for it. They're not wealthy. They don't live a rich lifestyle. They live a lavish lifestyle, but they're pissing away their money. Pardon the expression. All right. And that's not what I want. I don't care where you're at. The fact is even just a little consistently over time can build wealth. Heck, if I get a hold of someone in their 20s, all they got to do is put away less than $100 a month, and they can be a millionaire by the time they're 60. You know, my son and his wife, 27 and 30 years old, 3 homes, net worth in the 7 figures. Got to tell you, it's a process. Principles are principles because they're fundamental truths and they're a system of behavior. And that's what we need to follow. That's what the Affluence Blueprint is all about, is to give you the fundamental financial truths that will give this to you. And so don't make enough money to build wealth. That's another myth that's going to hold you back. That's another inner voice thing that we need to guide. Then the next one is, but money and wealth and investing and all that stuff, that's complicated. Really? Chris Hampton's in the house. Man, so good to hear from you, brother. It's been too long. Man. So wealth is complicated. Here's the deal now. There's going to be some people that get pissed off with me now because I am a CPA, but I'm not part of the financial planning, quote unquote, community. And there's a whole lot of people in the financial services area. I believe that they feel that it's in their best interest to keep things seemingly complicated, because then when it's complicated, we have to depend on them. Well, I'm here to tell you, the math is simple. The effort may not be easy, but the math is simple. Building wealth, building financial independence is not something that's complicated. And if it's too complicated for you to understand, there's 2 things that are happening. One, the advisor, the person that's pitching it to you, isn't the right person to pitch it to you, because their job is to educate you. Their job is to give you an understanding. Their job is to coach you along the way and not say, I got this. No. They don't got nothing. They don't have nothing. You are the one that's controlling your money. You need to understand it. And if they're not willing to educate you and help you with the understanding so you can make informed decisions, they are the wrong people to be working with. Building wealth isn't complicated. It's simple. There's principles. There's fundamental truths. There is a system of behavior. That's what we're doing in the Affluence Blueprint. We get you to understand those principles in layperson's terms, and you do the process. We never invest in anything we don't understand, and we make sure that we understand it. I actually give you the interview questions to make sure that you're getting the right advisors so they do the right thing. And if they're not willing to be a team player and do the things that the way you want them done, not the way they want to dictate to you, they're the wrong advisor for you, and you just don't use them. Simple as that. I've fired my advisors in the past. I have a great one now, and have had him for a long time, well over a decade. Okay. But we've had our share of discussions. So it's not complicated. It's simple when you understand the principles, when you have a process, when you have, in a sense, a blueprint to make it happen. Now, that leads to this other inner voice thing. And then I'm going to get to a couple things to do to make these goals and your financial vision come to life. And the other inner voice thing is that, I've got plenty of time. We just talked about this whole idea of the sooner we get in, time is the greatest lever for wealth building. The sooner we get in, the easier it is. It's the longer lever. If I can get someone at 20 years old, it takes $100 a month to make $1 million. If I get them at 30 years old, it's going to take $200 a month. If I get them at 40 or 50 years old, it's going to take a bit more. Okay. I have these conversations with people and they go, well, what happens? I'm at 55 years old. Listen, the principles are the principles. They don't change based on age. That's why they're principles. They're fundamental truths. They're a system of behavior. The blueprint works. Now, depending on your age, you might have to work a little harder in the blueprint and the principles than someone that is younger. That's fine. But it doesn't nullify the process. It doesn't nullify the thing. Here's the key, though. Let's get in early. I remember driving. I got picked up. I was speaking in Montana, and I was the keynote speaker. I get picked up by this driver. They sent a car for me at the airport, which was cool. And this young kid, he had just graduated college, and he looks at me and he says, "What do you do?" And we start chatting. And I showed him my book, The Entrepreneur Solution. And he says, "I'm a college kid. I just graduated college. I'm 25 years old." And he says, "What would you tell me, a 25-year-old just coming out of college, about building wealth and retirement?" And I looked at him and I said, "The first thing I would tell you to do is never call it retirement." I said, because when we call it retirement, it's easy to put it off. It's easy to delay it because I have time for retirement. He said, "Well, what should I call it instead?" I said, "Call it peace of mind." See, if I look at my retirement account as a peace of mind account, I want peace of mind today. I want peace of mind today. I don't want it in 30 years, 40 years. I want it today. So the urgency for that to get into it today becomes important. All right. So now with a financial vision and a plan and what we call the wealth priority ladder, we make sure that these things are dialed in a way that makes sense. So having said that, let's look at what the next step is. So we talked about, let me go back to here. We talked about the financial desires, bring them to goals, write the goals down, watch the inner voice. And we just talked about the myths and the challenges with that inner voice. We want to make sure that we guide the inner voice. So that leads to number 5 is make your goals vivid and visual. What I mean by this is that I need you. Now, you can do your vision boards. I think that they work, and that's one way to do it. But I want them viscerally visual in your mind. I want them to be so emotionally connected to it. For instance, I look at it now with Jerry and Cammie saying, telling us that they're expecting their first grandchild, and it's a granddaughter. And I've got this vision, this financial vision to take care of my little granddaughter in a way that grabs me in my heart and soul, that draws me forward and pulls me forward. Just the same that I have the vision, still have the vision, taking care of my wife and my son and the people that I care around me and the people that I serve. Okay. And so we need that vision to be reduced down to a vivid visual that allows you to take that in. Because here's why. And people will talk about, "Mel, why do you do frameworks all the time?" I do frameworks because they're visual. And the visual component of life is the emotional component of life. When I can connect with you visually, I connect with you emotionally. And when then I give structure to it in a framework, I connect with you logically. And I want you to do the same thing. So make sure that they're vivid and visual to make that happen. Now, that leads me to number 6. Number 6 is evaluate your past goals. What do I mean by this? What I want you to do here is I want you to look at this and say, what goals did I set before? Which ones did I hit? Which ones did I miss? Now, I do not want you to beat yourself up and go, "Damn it, I missed it." What I want you to do is here, the ones on both sides, the ones that I made and the ones that I didn't make, I want you to number one, I want you to be grateful. I want you to have appreciation and gratitude for where you are. Okay. This may sound really odd. Okay. I actually have some gratitude for the cancer. I have some gratitude for the cancer, because if it wasn't for the cancer, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. If it wasn't for the cancer, it wouldn't have shaken me to the core, to the point of seeing that I did something that other people should be doing. It wouldn't have given me the desire to go more openly teach the affluence blueprint versus teach one-on-one and work with my clients one-on-one at a high level. No, this is stuff that everyone needs. And it was the gratitude for the cancer that shined a light for it. So on it. So I want you to first have gratitude. Number two, I want you to look at those goals and say, what lessons did I learn? What were the lessons of positivity, the things that I did well and I can expand on? And two, what are the lessons of growth? The things that I could do better. The things that I could do better. And use those to take your next step. Because here's the other thing to understand. Number 7 is that when you set goals properly, financial goals properly, goals require change and effort. If you set a goal that you can achieve in an hour or overnight, it's not big enough. It's just not big enough. You need to look at this thing and say, what in me has to change to become this? What do I need to be today to do this? Okay, it's a be, do, have model. We need to look at this and say, who do I become? Remember, I say that the whole idea of affluence and liberation, being an affluent entrepreneur, is about a richer lifestyle, a deeper impact, and complete freedom. And the deeper impact, it's a holistic impact. And one of the impacts in there is who you become in the process. Who do you become in the process? All goals require change and effort. If it's not going to require change and effort, the goal isn't big enough. So ratchet it up, baby. Ratchet it up. All right. And then we go from here to this next step. This is something a dear friend of mine taught me. Calendar it. I want you to get the calendar out. And I want you to put a date on the calendar when you're going to achieve these financial goals. This is all about financial goals. You can use it in other aspects of your life. Right now, I'm talking about financial goals. I'm talking about affluence. I'm talking about your financial liberation and freedom and doing all of that. So here's the deal. Calendar it. Get it on the calendar. Here's an interesting thing. When I got diagnosed with cancer back in June of 2019, I pulled myself away from my business. And I stopped doing the active role because I needed to focus on my healing. And then I had 3 surgeries. In fact, we were just on my walk with my wife last night. We were figuring it out. So I had 3 surgeries, 4 tumors, and I will have my 30th treatment this Friday. Okay. And feel great. But when I started to come back out and because we had a number of scopes that are clean and clear, and we were beyond it now, is that I said, I want to get back out and I want to serve. But I started procrastinating. And so what I did is I literally put this launch, this affluence blueprint launch on the calendar, fit it in with other things that I had right in the middle of my treatments. Okay. Nope, we're putting it on the calendar. And by the act of putting it on the calendar, things in my brain shifted, things in my feet shifted. In other words, I took actions because I had a date in the calendar that forced me to move things forward. See, if we just put a goal out there and we don't put it in the calendar in some way, someday. And someday keeps moving, because someday isn't a day of the week. Someday isn't the day of the year, and it doesn't a day in the calendar. Make it one day in a calendar. All right. So calendar is number 7, number 8, and number 9. Number 9. This is a big one. It kind of goes back to number 7 here, but I want you to expand your comfort zone. expand your comfort zone. We talk about comfort zones a lot in the sense of, hey, anything you want and desire is going to be outside your comfort zone. And we talk about comfort zone as if we have a single comfort zone. Here's what I believe. I believe that we have multiple comfort zones depending on context. So I have a different comfort zone in my relationships than I have in my physical, effort or workouts or something like that. I have a different comfort zone in my financial comfort zone. I have a different comfort zone in my business comfort zone. So the real question in this case is, what is your financial comfort zone? And if we're not going to push those walls out, because what happens, we can think about the comfort zone as the walls beyond which you're going to grow. All your growth is going to be outside the comfort zone. If we set the goals right, those goals are on the other side of the comfort zone. If you hadn't seen the video where I talk about the expand your money mind, it's in the Facebook group. Make sure you go back and watch it, because I talk about the characteristics and the things you need to expand your money mind, which is going to expand the walls of your comfort zone, because we need to go beyond the comfort zone. We need to do the things that we wouldn't have ordinarily have done, because our behaviors that we have done to this point got us to this point. If we continue to do those same behaviors, they won't get us further than this point. We need to do different behaviors, which means that we need different information, different knowledge, different guidance, a different process, a different system to get us different results. See, we don't have a money issue when we're trying to build wealth. We have a behavior issue, and the behavior issue is that we need to make sure that we're up-leveling our behaviors and the people we're surrounding ourselves with to make sure that we're up-leveling our wealth. That's the key. So that's number 9 in the sequence, is just to expand your comfort zone. Make sure that you're expanding your comfort zone in the financial realm by reading, by getting coaching, by being in programs, by doing the things. So hopefully this helps you. I wanted to jump in here real quick. I got a crazy day ahead of me. Today we closed the doors on the Affluence Blueprint. We opened it up for the first time to the public because I wanted to teach it more broadly. It is my system. It is my 30-plus year financial journey. It is what has allowed people like Jeremy and Cammie to build their financial independence, people like Brandy to come out of debt and build wealth, out of debt over $100,000 and build wealth within 10 months. It is a system that we can follow. It is a process no matter the age or stage. And if you want to be part of that process, let me give you a link. You should see it in here, but I'll put it also up for you. You can go to jointabnow.com. We close doors tonight. And I don't know when we'll reopen them, but I want you in there. I want to make sure that you have that financial vision. We get it set with the affluent vision, and we give you the plan and the process and the blueprint to make it happen. Join me in the program. Can't wait to see you there. All right. In the meantime, if you have questions coming up, or you have challenges, or you're unsure about something, shoot me a DM, shoot me a question, pop it into the comments, or if I still have time, you can actually even book an appointment for a 15-minute call personally with me in my calendar about the program. I'm not doing coaching and all of that type of stuff in there. It's really about the program. Those time slots are reserved for the people about the program until we get past the program time. So closing tonight. So let's get you in there. Let's give you that financial vision. Let's make it happen for you. And let's start today. We're going to change your financial trajectory for you, for your family, and for the generations to come. All right. I look forward to seeing you in the program. I look forward to seeing you on the journey. Keep rocking and let me know how I can help. Cheers. See you.